All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing, oh my gosh, one of the best books I've read all year. Now, this is a book that this is a reread for me. I read it when it first came out in the late 1990s. Actually, it came out in 1999, to be exact. That would be the very definition of the late 1990s. This is a reread for me, and I forgot just how spectacular this book was. So, Wilbur Smith, this is chronologically book #2 in his massive Courtney's of Africa saga of some 25 books. Now, if you go to Amazon, they're going to list this as book number 10 or 11 in the series, but that's because, maybe even 50, I don't know. They're wrong. Amazon is 100% wrong, the way they list these books. In fact, it'll confuse everybody who wants to read these books. Amazon listed these books, the Courtney family saga, in order of which Wilbur Smith wrote them. Because he skipped all over the place in the timeline as he wrote these. But if you want to read them in chronological order, this book is #2. Book #1 in the series, Birds of Prey, I've already left a review for on this channel. And if you want to watch the review of Birds of Prey, all you need to do is type in my last name, Durfee, into your YouTube search bar, and then Birds of Prey or Wilbur Smith. That video review, through some sort of pagan sorcery, will magically appear upon your television screen. I swear to God that it will. But for today's purposes, we're going to be reviewing book #2. I swear to you, it's actually book #2. Despite what Amazon.com has it listed as, this is book #2. Fucking series. I don't want to see any comments. I don't want to see any comments that saying it's not book #2. Might be book #3. Go to his website, figure it out. Anyway, okay, so it starts out with Hal Courtney. Now, he was the star of book #1, The Birds of Prey, which took place in 1650-ish, so a long time ago. This one takes place in the 1690s. Hal Courtney has grown up from his adventures in the first book. Now he's a father of four boys. William, who's 24 years old, and is known as Black Billy because he is the son of Hal Courtney and an Ethiopian woman. And William has got a chip on his shoulder. He's tough. He's feared by everyone. He's just a bully everywhere he goes. And then Hal Courtney has two other boys that are twins named Tom and Guy. They might say Guy in England. I don't know. Let me know. Is Gui spelled Guy or Guy? I don't know. Anyway, they're twins. They're 17 years old. It's hard to tell whether these kids are, because there's a lot of morally gray characters in this book, from downright evil people to very honorable people and everything in between. And I think Hal Courtney and his sons lean a little bit more to the chaotic, evil side of things than real heroic. Maybe the youngest son, Dorian, who's about 12 or 13, he might be the only kind of decent chap in this family as we go along on their adventure with them. But anyway, Hal Courtney, he made a lot of money in his first trips to Africa that were chronicled in the Birds of Prey book. And now he's got a very rich estate and farmlands in the Devon, England area of England. It's a countryside. It's a very idyllic 1690s-esque English countryside of Devon. He's doing pretty well. And all of his sons are kind of in conflict with each other all the time. They do not get along. Not one single son gets along with another single son at all. Maybe they've all got some affection for the youngest one, Dorian, but the opening chapter is just William, or Black Billy as he's known, the firstborn. Now he will inherit this rich farmland. Just according to British law, it's always the firstborn that just gets it. Even if he's the biggest douchebag in the family, he's going to get it. And the rest of the family just has to find their own way. Now, he is a bully from the beginning. The story, gosh, this is where I'm going to talk about. This is very Ken Follett-esque. If you liked Pillars of the Earth, this is right up your alley. This book reminded me more of Pillars of the Earth than any other book that has ever been written. This is very Ken Follett-esque in its historical storytelling, the way that the characters play out as, I mean, because Ken Follett does such a good job of making you hate certain characters and root for certain other characters. Wilbur Smith has that same exact talent in spades in this book. This book was so excellent at that. Now, the main plot, and I mean, they just don't write books like this anymore. They just don't. I think today's reader has a weak stomach and just would not be able to handle much of anything that's going on in this bloody and brutal and not very politically correct adventure novel. It's just, that's why I say we just don't write books like this anymore. The plot is this. The East India Trading Company is suffering massive losses throughout the sea, especially around Africa. Pirates are just taking whatever they want on the sea, on the oceans. Now, Hal Courtney, the star of the first book, Birds of Prey, he's got to now prepare for a mission, a most dangerous voyage in the name of the crown. He's been now, and then he's got to decide, what do I do with my 4 sons? He's like, well, I'll probably have to leave Billy, Black Billy, the oldest, home because he's going to inherit that. But I'm going to take my 3 other sons with me. Just because he takes his 3 other sons with him on this voyage doesn't mean that the bad guy William, Black Billy, the oldest son, the douchebag of the antagonist of the whole story, just because he's left behind doesn't mean he doesn't play an integral part of this plot. But anyway, so Hal goes on this journey. He takes his 3 younger sons. He has to, because even when he takes his son, he has to think about, what's the fate of my son's going to be? Because most people that voyage down to Africa don't return. But he's like, well, okay, whatever. We'll just take him anyway. And but they don't get, even those 3 don't get along. So it's just, there's drama, there's family drama from start to finish in this story. And the boys, it's a journey, it's an adventure with pirate duels and monsoons and even amputated limbs and some of the wildest shark scenes since Jaws, or the wildest shark scenes since my book, The Blackest Heart. I got some shark scenes in there that could rival the shark scenes in here. And then it's about the slave trade mostly, and the fate that the fate of these young boys might they might not ever set foot on English soil again. Each of them eventually seduced by the allure and savagery and mystery of the African continent. This is basically the most action-packed and bloody and drama-filled sea adventure I've ever read. And that's saying a lot, because I've read a lot. I mean, they just don't write hard-hitting books like this anymore. It's got guns and swords and slave traders and Knights Templar, the Temples of Solomon, the beginnings of the Illuminati, and I mean, it's just like, it's crazy what the amount of stuff is in here. It's a 10 out of 10. I love this. It's probably going to make one of my top 10 favorite reads or rereads of 2025. An absolutely bloody good time. Not for the people weak of heart. I mean, you must be stout of heart to read a Wilbur Smith novel, which means once my generation dies off, so will these books probably, because ain't nobody going to reread them. Just, you know what I'm saying.